That concludes the debate on children's rights and temporary accommodation. It's now time to move on to the next item of business, which is an urgent question, and I call on Megan Gallagher.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government what its response is to the findings of the fatal accident inquiry for Leah Lamont, Ellie McCormick and Mirabelle Bosch, published on the 14th of March 2025, which suggest that 3 child fatalities were avoidable.
Cabinet Secretary Neil Gray.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And I appreciate Megan Gallagher raising this urgent question. The loss of a baby is devastating for any family, and I offer my sincerest apologies to the families for any failures in the system that has seen the tragic deaths of baby Leah, Ellie and Mirabelle. As a father of 4, my heart breaks to think of the unspeakable pain those families will be suffering, especially as the FAI has flagged opportunities for their babies' lives to have potentially been saved. I thank those families in that light for participating in the fatal accident inquiry. I simply cannot begin to imagine the pain of not only losing their child, but also having to relive that time through this investigation. I'm also grateful to Sheriff Principal Anwar for her report. We are considering the findings carefully with the maternity community to ensure the recommendations are acted upon with the greatest of urgency. Indeed, NHS Lanarkshire and NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde have already put in place a range of actions to deliver against the recommendations and have an ongoing programme of work to deliver the safest care for mothers and babies. I've written to the Chief Executives of NHS Lanarkshire and NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde seeking further assurances that actions are underway and that appropriate changes are happening at pace, and I've asked to be kept informed of progress.
Megan Gallagher.
Thank you, and I appreciate the response that the Cabinet Secretary has just provided, because the most heartbreaking conclusion of the inquiry is, of course, the deaths of Leah, Ellie and Mirabelle could have been avoided. And my deepest sympathies go to the families impacted by the inquiry findings. Whilst we can't undo the pain and distress these families have endured, we must ensure that their experiences lead to meaningful change. The report highlights defects in the system of working in hospitals, pointing to a lack of guidance for midwives in assessing preterm labour symptoms and a lack of effective means of flagging risks on hospital systems. So given the inquiry's recommendations, and I was listening closely to what the Cabinet Secretary has just said, but what further assurances can the Scottish Government provide to pregnant women and families that these will be fully implemented to prevent similar tragedies in the future?
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, President Officer. Again, I thank Megan Gallagher for a question. I'd be happy to provide in writing to her and to the Health Committee our response to all of those recommendations, because I believe that there is already progress in place for some of them and more progress to come, but being worked upon for others. To give Megan Gallagher reassurance, she's right, improving maternity safety is paramount, and would like to reassure expectant mothers and that maternity services in Scotland are very safe for both mothers and babies. Our world-leading Scottish Patient Safety Perinatal Improvement Programme works with maternity services across Scotland to drive improvements in care for mothers and babies. We're also working with HIS on the renewed approach to significant adverse event reviews, and will update the maternity and neonatal guidelines to reflect the revised HIS guidelines. And to improve the safety of maternity services, the Government has commissioned HIS to develop a set of maternity standards. The process has already started, and we expect the standards to be published in late 2025. As Megan Gallagher will know, HIS are also now starting unannounced inspections of maternity services to give that additional level of assurance.
Megan Gallagher.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and a written response would be greatly appreciated from the Cabinet Secretary. Following the reviews conducted by the Fatal Accident Inquiry and its findings, there will be significant concern, anxiety and anticipation amongst the women and families who are expecting. So can the Scottish Government provide assurance on the additional measures being considered to enhance that patient safety, and understand that the Minister has just outlined some of those. How to improve oversight and address staffing levels of our maternity and neonatal services to alleviate these concerns. The Minister has provided a timescale for that, but could the Minister also therefore consider that any changes that have been made to neonatal services in particular, and I'm speaking about Wishaw General here in relation to the downgrade, that this can also be taken into consideration given the accident inquiry and given its findings?
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, President Officer. There is progress already underway in this space. The Government published guidance in 2021 for boards on how and when to undertake significant adverse event reviews in maternity and neonatal services. These sit alongside the Healthcare Improvement Scotland SAER process and include a strong focus on including the families in the process and being open. We expect all boards to follow these guidelines to ensure that robust and timely reviews are undertaken. As I said, I will follow up in writing to both Megan Gallagher and the committee in terms of the individual recommendations and the work that is underway through the likes of the Safe Staffing Act. I would be more than happy to interact with her, as I have with others, around the process around the reorganisation of neonatal services, because I believe that actually that produces a safer process for the most vulnerable babies in our society.
Thank you. I call Carol Mockin.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Can I also thank the Cabinet Secretary for his answers on this urgent question. Last year, a report on neonatal deaths recommended the review of maternity units to help assess how care for mothers and babies can be improved. And as the Cabinet Secretary said, following this, recommendations were in place that Healthcare Improvement Scotland committed to carrying out inspections of maternity units from January 2025 to help provide assurances around the care women and babies can expect to receive. So would it be possible for me today to ask the Cabinet Secretary if he will agree to provide an update to the Parliament on the progress made regarding these inspections?
Cabinet Secretary.
Yes, I can. I thank Carol Mockin for her question. I can provide an illustrative update now. We have seen the first inspections happening and we're expecting reports of those later this year. During the inspections, which are to last between 1 and 3 days, his inspectors will be looking at care, speak to staff and senior managers, talk to mothers and families and review information about staffing levels, culture and leadership within the units. I'd be happy to correspond further with Carol Mockin on if she requires any further details around the work that his are doing to provide that level of additional assurance.
Thank you. That concludes the urgent question. The next item of business is consideration of business motion 16855 in the name of Jamie Hepburn on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau setting out a business programme, and I call on Jamie Hepburn to move the motion.
Move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Minister. No member has asked to speak to the motion. Therefore, the question is that motion 16855 be agreed. Are we all agreed? The motion is therefore agreed. The next item of business is consideration of business motion 16856 in the name of Jamie Hepburn on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau on a Stage 2 timetable. Any member who wishes to speak to the motion should press their request to speak button now. And I call on Jamie Hepburn to move the motion.
Move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Minister. No member has asked to speak to the motion. Therefore, the question is that motion 16856 be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The motion is therefore agreed. The next item of business is consideration of 5 Parliamentary Bureau motions, and I ask Jamie Hepburn, on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau, to move motions 16857 to 16860 on approval of SSIs, and 16861 on designation of a lead committee.
Move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Minister. And the question on these motions will be put at decision time, which we will come to momentarily. Thank you, colleagues. There are 7 questions to be put as a result of today's business. The first question is that Amendment 16845.2 in the name of Fiona Hislop, which seeks to amend Motion 16845 in the name of Claire Baker on reforming Scotland's West Coast ferries, be agreed. Are we all agreed? The Parliament is not agreed, therefore we'll move to a vote, and there will be a brief suspension to allow members to access the digital voting system.